Hello everyone, and welcome to round 15 of the 1936 International Tournament in Moscow. Here Emanuel Lasker with the white pieces faces his old nemesis, Jose Raul Capablanca. Now, Capablanca is still undefeated. This is round 15, so he's having an excellent tournament. Now he has an opportunity to do something with the black pieces against Emanuel Lasker. Before we check it out, I have a very interesting photo challenge, so best of luck to everyone. Who are the two people in the photo? 1 point for each person, so best of luck to everyone. And by two people, I mean the two people that are playing chess. So there it is, but as it is a very old photo, I do have a newer one. So here it is. These are the same two people, but this is, a fresh photo taken this year. And it's very interesting. I don't know if they're actually playing this game or are they trying to recreate it, as here you can see that the person on the left is holding a piece up in the air, and here also you can see the person on the left holding a piece. The person on the right has a wristwatch on his left wrist. Also, it's the same in this photo, and the pose pretty much is the same between both players. So very nice, except in this photo the player on the left has the white pieces, and in this photo the player on the left has the black pieces. So if this is a real game, this could be the first game they played since this game, so it could be a rematch. But as we don't have access to any of those games, I don't think we'll ever learn the score. So best of luck to everyone. Let's check out this game. Lasker has the white pieces and he opens with e4, and Capablanca, to a very nice surprise, plays c5, so the Sicilian defense. Knight to f3, knight to c6, we have d4, a break in the center, c captures, knight captures, and knight to f6. Knight to c3, d6, and now bishop to e2. We have bishop to d7, bishop to e3, and now e6. Queen d2, we have a6, and now f4. Queen to c7, and here knight to b3. If you're ever in a situation like this, you never want to capture, for example, here, because after b captures, black is just going to have an extremely strong center. He's going to have a semi-open b file for the rook already, and you're going to really limit your king to where it wants to go. You're probably never going to castle queenside anymore, as you just opened up black's rook, so you're going to have to go kingside, and if black already knows where you're going to go, so he's going to transfer all of his game there. So here, knight to b3, avoiding the exchange. We have b4, b5 by Capablanca, and bishop to f3. Rook to b8, guarding the b pawn, as Capablanca wants to push a5 and then b4 or a4. We have knight to e2, and now bishop to e7. We have castles, and here comes knight to g3. And a5, as planned. Capablanca says that he's not really interested in anything that's going on the king side, that the real ideas are on the queen side. We have knight back to d4, and now comes a4. Rook a to e1 and rook f to c8. Now really going for ideas on the queen side. Here, if this knight ever moves, the c2 pawn will come under attack, so Lasker defends it up front. Rook to f2, and now comes knight to e8. Knight to e8 with ideas of defending the g7 pawn if white ever manages to create an attack against the black king, and also this f pawn is now free to be pushed forward. We have knight captures on c6, bishop captures on c6, and now f5. Lasker starts his attack on the king side. And here, of course, you don't want to capture on f5. Knight captures would give this knight a beautiful square where it would be very strong. So instead, after f5, simply closing the position with e5. We have knight to h5, now threatening ideas like f6. We have queen to b7, as Lasker is no longer defending the e4 pawn with the knight. Now Capablanca uses this to create an attack against the e4 pawn. Bishop to g5, now opening up defense from the rook on e1, and also offering a trade of bishops. Here you can exchange, and then after queen comes, play f6, the knight on e8 is still guarding the g7 pawn very nicely, but Capablanca plays f6 immediately. Bishop moves, and now knight to c7. As the position now is pretty closed here, there's really no way this queen is ever coming to g4 or g4 or g5, so there's no need for the knight to be guarding the g7 pawn anymore. Here, queen to d1, We have rook to d8, preparing to push d5. We have rook to d2, hoping to stop it, and before pushing, king to h8, getting the king to a safer square. We have a3, and now rook to c8, still waiting before pushing d5. Bishop to f2, and only now Capablanca does push d5. We have e captures, knight captures, bishop captures, rook captures, and here queen to g4. Now threatening queen to g7, checkmate. You could capture, but after capturing, you're still not really getting anywhere with this move. But okay, after rook to d5, we have queen to g4 immediately, trying to avoid the exchange of rooks, and now bishop to c5. Bishop to f8 seems like a safer idea, but Capablanca correctly assesses the position that it's not needed to go back with the bishop. We have rook e to d1, and now bishop captures on f2 with check. King captures, and now doubling up on the d file. Rook captures on d5, rook captures on d5, rook captures on d5, bishop captures on d5, and this is the critical moment in the game. Here, if you look at this, the material is completely the same, and even Lasker has an advantage on the queen side, 3 pawns against 2. He has a knight against the bishop, and the Lasker's pieces are very active. Capablanca's queen is pretty much stuck here guarding the g7 pawn. But there is one problem. Lasker's king is also very vulnerable here. So before Lasker continues with any plan, he should move the king back. King g1, king h1, push the h-pawn, create some breathing room for the king, and only then figure out how to do it. Because Lasker's queen is also kind of stuck defending this pawn, unless the knight goes back and then the knight helps out with the defense. But as long as this queen-bishop battery is eyeing the g2 pawn, you're gonna have trouble. You're not doing anything by pushing g3. Then Black can even go bishop h1 and threaten some mating ideas of his own. But definitely king g1 to h1, the best idea. But here Lasker tries to defend the b2 pawn in an active way. He plays queen to b4, and this is sometimes active is okay, but too active is not okay. Here the idea is, of course, if you capture, then queen to f8 will be checkmate. But here he missed a very nice idea by Capablanca. So I will invite you to pause the video here and try to find the idea Lasker missed in this position. So I will give it a couple of seconds as usual. For those of you who found it, congratulations, you are an excellent player. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, here Capablanca played queen to a7. But if you found queen to b6, the idea is completely the same. Queen a7 check. And now you have a lot of problems. As you can see, the g1 square is no longer available to you. That's why king g1 to h1 was necessary. If you go something like king e1, then you allow queen g1 check. And this is just terrible. This comes with check, king moves, check. King moves, you capture the piece, and the queen f8 is nothing because the bishop can go back and defend checkmate. Another thing, after this queen to a7 check, you realize now that you have to go to a light square and face this bishop to c4 check. Now, in the game, king to e2 was played. King to f1 would be even worse. But okay, king f2, king e2, we have bishop to c4 check, and now king back to f3. And here Capablanca could have continued by this nice pawn sacrifice, e4, and after king captures, queen a8 check, bringing the king even deeper. But here Capablanca decided to go for a different idea. Queen a8 check immediately, king to f2, and now queen to d8, bringing the queen all the way to d1. And queen to c3, as there's no more point in keeping the queen here. Even if the queen moves the bishop to g8, will always be able to defend checkmate. So queen c3, we have queen to d1, and now knight to g3, defending from queen f1 check. We have h6, creating some room for the king. b3 now, captures, and bishop captures on b3. Knight to f1, we have queen to b1, and now comes g4. Bishop to c4, attacking the knight. We have knight to e3, and now queen to h1, temporarily sacrificing a pawn. We have knight captures, but now, of course, Capablanca doesn't capture back and allow queen captures. First, queen captures on h2 with check. King e1, queen g1 check, king moves, queen f2 check, king moves, queen f1 check, now connecting with the knight on c4. We have king captures, and now comes b captures on c4. And now Capablanca is up 2 pawns, and the a pawn is a very strong pawn, but unfortunately it will not be enough. Here Lasker did push a4. We have queen to f4 check, king moves, and now comes queen captures on g4. Lasker pushes the passed pawn, a5, queen captures on f5. Capablanca grabs yet another pawn as he calculates correctly. King to c1, getting out of check, and now queen to f2. We have queen to a3, preparing to push the pawn, and here king to h7 was played, and it was in this position that Emanuel Lasker resigned the game. It seems like, regardless of black's 4 extra pawns, white can simply push the a pawn, and this will be fine for white. Unfortunately, not really. After a6, queen e1 check. King moves, and now comes queen d2 check. King moves, and now c3. And now you can no longer push to a7 because c2 is coming, followed by c1, of course. And after queen to b3, white now has to move away from the queen. He cannot allow c2. And now after queen to e3, you can either choose to push the other pawns to victory. You're protecting the a7 square. If white ever pushes it, you will capture it. But one thing you cannot do, and I hope no one thought about doing this, because queen d3 with ideas of checking the king and winning the a6 pawn will lose you the game, because now queen to c2 blocks check, and now the queen is pinned because there's a king on h7. Here you have to exchange, and now it doesn't matter if you have 4 extra pawns. a7, a8 wins the game. So that would be pretty bad. But okay, after king to h7, Lasker resigned the game, and yet another victory goes to the Cuban Jose Raul Capablanca, taking a great victory in round 15. A couple of more rounds to go till the end of this tournament, so hope you're enjoying it so far, and really enjoying this incredible supremacy by Jose Raul Capablanca. And this will be like we said in the first video when we started this short series, one of the last examples of a non-Soviet player crushing Soviet players. So yeah, that's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully with another interesting video. Thank you all.